This is
Welcome to the dark side of lust. If this is your type of stories, sit back, buckle up, get a drink, and chill out. Let's begin. Hey there. So, I recently found out that I am psychotic. I'm a psycho lover, is what I call myself. I just don't know how I got here, you know? You see, it just doesn't matter really when it started. What does matter is it took a hold of my mind and it took a hold of my personality. Whenever I met a guy, I would fall in love immediately. When I liked him, and that was it. There was absolutely nothing that was going to stop me from wanting to be with him and pursuing him. Absolutely nothing. And I just would get crazy about it. I would feel just like I owned him. He became a part of me. I wanted to spend every single moment with him. And if this guy that I happened to be dating at the time did not wake up and message me in the morning, especially when cell phones did become a part of our world, if he didn't give me a text before he was going to sleep, he was cheating. That was it. And I would flip out. I mean, I was the type of person that would drive to his house. Literally. Well, I wouldn't necessarily knock on the door and go in, but I would watch at the front door. And if he lived in an apartment building, you better know that I went upstairs in the apartment building and listened at the door. Which brings me to this story. So I was dating a guy, and I promised myself this time around I wasn't going to get psycho. I promised myself this time around I wasn't going to get nutty. Some of you guys may understand what I mean about that. You know, waiting around for his phone call, checking to WhatsApp to see when he was last online, going on his Facebook Messenger to see when he was last on Messenger, all that stuff. I promised myself this time around I wasn't going to do it. And I didn't for the first week. But then after the second week and we were intimate, it was hard for me. So I did it a couple of times on WhatsApp, and then I decided that I can't do it any longer because I'm just driving myself crazy. Like, anytime he would be online, I would be wondering, why is he not messaging me? I would be at work and I would just intuitively pick up my phone, go on WhatsApp, look at it, and see that he's online. And he would be on it for about just a minute, and I'd be like, what is he doing? How come if he's on it, he didn't leave me a message to say, hey, babe, how you doing? So I let it be because it was only the first 2 weeks. And then after about a month of dating, I just got obsessed again. And I kept watching when he was online and who he could be talking to. And I tried to hack his Facebook account, and he even said to me one day, he's like, someone keeps trying to hack my Facebook. I keep getting notifications in my email. He's like, God, I'm lucky that I have that step 2 verification. And I tried to hack his Instagram. You see, it's just something that is like a poison inside of me, and it's like a demon egg, and when it hatches, the evil just comes out, and I start thinking the most ridiculous things, and I don't understand why. So this one day I just couldn't get these thoughts out of my head, and I just allowed myself to get bulldozed over because this one day he woke up. Now, I knew the night before that he was going to have a busy day, and he left me a message, and he's like, hey, babe, I'm going to sleep early tonight. And we didn't have our regular conversation. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I have a busy day tomorrow. And that wasn't like him, so I thought, something's up. But I do know that he started a new job too, so I tried to tell myself that it's just the job, it's not me. But I couldn't convince myself of that truth, even though that was the truth. I kept saying to myself, no, he's trying to break up. He's losing interest. He has someone else, like obsessed with it. And then I saw him go online on WhatsApp at around 11 o'clock at night. It was 9 o'clock at night that he told me he was going to sleep. Why was he up at 11 o'clock at night? Okay, so I messaged him and I'm like, hey, babe, I thought you were going to be sleeping. And he's like, hey, sweetheart, I'm just rolling over to check my messages. You know how it goes. I went to sleep earlier than usual. So I'm like now just checking my messages to see if I got any work messages. This job is so stressful. Anyway, have a good night, sweetheart. Sleep tight. And I just didn't believe him for some reason. I thought to myself, this guy is freaking lying to me. He's been somewhere from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. He was with someone or doing something. He wasn't sleeping for 2 hours and then roll over and use the phone just to see what messages he got. No, I couldn't believe that, even though it was true. But in any case, I really just stayed up all night, tossing and turning and thinking about it and allowing it to get at me and eat at my skin and itch me. And I couldn't wait till the morning came for him to message me and for things to go back to normal. And it just didn't. The next morning, he did not message me. He didn't even say, hi, babe, like he usually does. Okay? Like just like that, nothing. So then I was like, what in the world is going on here? Lunchtime. I messaged him and I'm like, babe, is everything okay? Are you all right? And he's like, oh my gosh, it's been so hectic. He's like, I'll message you later when I get home. And I was like, all right. And I let it slide and I tried my hardest to relax, but the day couldn't end enough, like soon enough. And then at 5 o'clock, when he would usually message me when he was leaving the office, or when he was usually messaging me when he'd get home and he'd be cooking his dinner or whatever, he didn't. I waited until 7 o'clock. Absolutely nothing. At 7 o'clock, I messaged him and I'm like, babe, I haven't heard from you all day. I miss you. And he didn't get back to me. His phone was off. And I couldn't handle it. I saw like one check mark on WhatsApp. And so I'm like, okay, what's going on? You know, he has a new woman. He turned his phone off. He just turned his phone off because he didn't want me to bother him. So I waited until 9 o'clock and I didn't hear anything from him. And I waited until 10 o'clock and I said, okay, I'm going to his place. So I went to his place. The concierge let me in the front door because he knew me by now. And I went upstairs and I listened at his door. And I could hear a woman's voice, low woman's voice. And then I heard some giggling. So I banged on the door. I banged on the door like a frigging maniac. I won't lie. And there was no answer. And then I banged on the door again. And then the voice stopped. And then I saw someone look through the peek hole. Like I was banging on the door to the point where one of the neighbors came out in the hall and said, would you calm down? And I said, mind your business, you know. And then finally, when someone came to the peephole, the door opened and it was my boyfriend. And he's like, what are you doing, Tammy? He's like, holy shit. I thought it was somebody else at the door. I was afraid to answer it. And I'm like, don't give me that crap. And I busted past him and I went into his apartment and there was no one in the living room. I went into his bedroom. I looked underneath the floor. Underneath the bed, onto the floor. I looked in the closet. I looked in the bathroom. I pulled open the curtain. I yanked the curtain down, tore it down. And then I went to the kitchen and I grabbed a knife. I was going to put a hole in a bitch. Yeah. And then I said, where is she? And he's like, whoa, hold up, back up. And he went to his front door. He opened his front door and he was ready to go down the hall. And he's like, this is strange. I don't deal with psycho bitches. Like, this is weird. And I'm like, listen, where were you last night? Where were you? And then all today, nothing. And then he's like, listen, not that I owe you any explanations, but last night I did explain to you. Today at lunchtime, I explained to you that I would contact you when I got home. I was so busy today, I couldn't even charge my cell phone. When I got home, I didn't even eat. I just laid down on the couch, put the TV on, and went to sleep. And then, of course, I said to him, well, I heard a woman's voice. And he's like, that was the TV. And I said, no, it wasn't, because I heard the voice go silent when I was knocking. And he said, that's because I put it on mute. I put the TV on mute. Look, the TV's on. And he's like, I put it on mute because I was trying to figure out who would be at the door banging like that. You woke me up out of my sleep. I was on the couch. And I said, you're lying, you creep, because you can't fall asleep with the TV on. And he looked at me and he's like, yes, I can. I can fall asleep with the TV on if I'm dead tired. And I'm dead tired. And I'm dead tired of you. Get the out of my house right now. And I looked at him and I just wasn't happy. And I just didn't believe him. And when he told me to get out of his apartment, I was like, that's it. I went and I looked in the coat closet. There was no female. I looked everywhere in the house except for the fridge. And even till this moment, I'm thinking to myself, she could have been in the fridge if she was tiny, but in any case, because he has a big fridge, one of those big fridges. But he would have had to clear it all out, and that just doesn't make sense. But I still think to myself, maybe his fridge was empty and she climbed in it. I know I sound crazy, but I checked every single part. I even felt like she was behind the couch, so I looked behind the couch, and then I sliced the back of the couch open. I don't know why. I just couldn't stop myself. And when I sliced the back of the couch open, he called 911. And I refused to leave. And then I just started, I knew at that moment we were done. I knew everything was over. I knew he would never want me again after that. So then I just started to slice up his furniture. And I said to him, screw you. You never respected me. You were never going to be with me forever. When you love someone, you make time for them. And he's like, hold up. Who's talking about love? And who's talking about, you're just way off the deep end right now, Tammy. I don't know what's going on. And he left his own apartment and he ran down the stairs and he went to the front to wait for the police. In the meantime, I waited in his apartment and I calmed down and I looked at the mess that I made. And then that was it. The police showed up. And of course, they took me down to the station, and in court, I found out the true story. He really was telling the truth. I mean, I didn't slice him with the knife, but he certainly wanted me to pay for everything that I sliced up. It was a few $1,000s. Let's just put it this way, 5,000. His couch, his chairs. I smashed a few glasses. Nothing was antique or anything of that nature. He just likes really expensive things. So that was it. And now I'm on medication. I have to go to counseling. I also have to take anger management courses. And they're not helping because I still think to myself that the next relationship I get into, how in the heck am I supposed to trust a man? How do people trust people? How do you just say to yourself, oh yeah, that person didn't call me, they must be busy? I think those types of people are psycho. You got to be psycho just to sit back and think that somebody's not doing something. If their behavior changes immediately and they start treating you differently, then something's up. And you're psychotic if you think nothing is up and everything is A-okay. I don't know. I guess it is what it is. Maybe I should have done what my therapist told me I should have done. Wait for a couple of weeks till he got accustomed to that new job. It's a stressful job, it's a promotion, and he wanted to make sure he did everything right. And my therapist told me it usually takes someone 3 weeks to 3 months to get accustomed to a new position. I didn't really give him that long. But if it ever happens again, then I know next time that I will give someone that long. Until then, on to the next. I hope you guys keep your relationships intact with trust and love and also no obsession. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining Dark Side of Lust. And yes, be careful in your relationships. A lot of times you can meet someone that loves you more than you love them, or you can meet someone that really has bad intentions and doesn't have any desire to make you theirs. Please take a moment to subscribe, hit that like button, make sure you hit the notification bell so you are notified when another video is uploaded with the dark side of lust. And don't forget to share. And be careful out there.
This is